Brother Michael's going to be preaching to us this morning out of Zechariah 12, verses 1, 2, and 3. The burden of the word of the Lord for Israel, saith the Lord, which stretcheth forth the heavens, and layeth the foundation of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone, for all people, all that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth shall be gathered together against it.
Thank you, Sister Logan. Once again, here in Zechariah's prophecy, we see this phrase, the burden of the word of the Lord. It's a burden because the word of the Lord has weight to it. And when he speaks a word to a person or a nation, the weight of his word rests on that person or nation or to whomever he speaks it. Recall in chapter 9, there was a burden of the word of the Lord, and it said it'll rest on Damascus. So the weight of that rested on Damascus in the land of Syria. And we should remember that this word burden doesn't always necessarily mean something bad. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is a bad word. In fact, we know in this text that this is a good word. It's a matter of great weight and substance concerning good things to come for Israel. The burden of the word of the Lord for Israel. Now this Israel is not the 10 tribes of Israel, speaking of the divided kingdom where 10 tribes were Israel and the one tribe was Judah. This is talking about the entire nation of Israel. So this is a word to all Israel, to all Jews. Although, ironically, this is the last time in the book of Zechariah that we will read the word Israel. The rest, the 3 remaining chapters of the book doesn't mention Israel again, but this is a word for Israel. The only geographical places mentioned from here on are Judah and Jerusalem. But this is a word for Israel. So I wanted to point that out. Don't be confused and think that this is speaking of the divided tribes, and this is a word addressed to only part of the nation. This is addressed to all Jews. Regardless of divisions and the politics and the melting pot that Jerusalem has become today, Jerusalem will forever be God's city, and in due time all but God's people will be expelled from it. Jerusalem belongs to God because he has named it and taken it for himself. And it is the capital city of his people Israel. It is God's namesake, as the nation of Israel is his namesake. In 2 Samuel 5:5, it is recorded concerning David, in Hebron he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months, and then in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years over all Israel and Judah. So this is the seat of the reign of Israel was here. David's throne was in Jerusalem. This is the capital of Israel. That's why the word of the Lord is for Israel, but he's only going to talk about Jerusalem. And when the kingdom was divided because of the sins of Solomon and the people, recall the prophet Ahijah came and spoke to Jeroboam. And he said to him, this is 1 Kings 11:32, but he, that is Solomon, shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. So this is the Lord's city, a prominent city. The city of Jerusalem is the single place on earth that most represents God and Israel. And that is by his own choice, not because men have made it that way. Therefore, when wicked men can no longer abide God and want to express their hatred for God's people, this is where they will attack, in Jerusalem, because it is representative of God's people, and God's people are represented as the city Jerusalem. In war, we know that men attack what is most valued and what is most precious to their enemy. Therefore, all Israel, and really, God himself, is being attacked when his city, Jerusalem, is attacked. So this is a word from the Lord for Israel. What happens to Jerusalem happens to Israel. This is from the God of Israel. The previous words from the prophet Zechariah seem to have left the nation in a state of rejection. In chapter 11, their shepherds did not lead them in the ways of the Lord, and the sheep followed them anyway because this is what they desired. The sheep were slain and sold. They were not pitied. The shepherds fed themselves off of the sheep. Because of their hardness, the Lord fed that flock in preparation to slaughter them. The staves of beauty and bands that he once tended them with were cut asunder, and he turned them over to foolish shepherds and idle shepherds. The Lord's people did not care for him, so he turned them over to shepherds that did not care for them. After all that's been said and done, it would seem that this is the end of the story for Israel, and even several hundred years later, Jesus himself stood in Israel and said, "Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. For I say unto you, ye shall not see me henceforth, till ye say, Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord." And to this very day, their house yet appears to be desolate, with the exception of the remnant known only to God. They have not yet said, Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. It seems as though the foolish shepherds are still in charge in Israel, as Babylon seems to be in charge of the churches. Isaiah chapter 66 outlines some of these things, beginning at verse 3. Yea, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delighteth in their abominations. I also will choose their delusions, and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spoke, they did not hear, but they did evil before mine eyes, and chose that in which I delighted not. Hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, Let the Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. A voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice of the Lord that rendereth recompense to his enemies. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pain, she was delivered of a man-child. Who hath heard such a thing? Who hath seen such things? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Shall I bring to the birth and not cause to bring forth, saith the Lord? The Lord is reminding us of his word. He's saying, will I promise these things? Will I choose a nation? Will I choose a people? Will I choose a city and bring them all the way this far and then stop? Will I not do what I said I'm going to do? Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb, saith the Lord? Rejoice ye with Jerusalem, and be glad with her, all ye that love her. Rejoice for joy with her, all ye that mourn for her, that ye may suck and be satisfied with the breasts of her consolations, that ye may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. For thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will extend peace to her like a river, and the glory of the Gentiles like a flowing stream. Then shall ye suck. Ye shall be borne upon her sides, and be dandled upon her knees, as one whom his mother comforteth. So will I comfort you, and ye shall be comforted in Jerusalem. Amen. So the scriptures concerning Israel have not yet been fulfilled. Paul says this in Romans, I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid. God hath not cast away his people, which he foreknew. God is not finished with Israel. He has not nullified his covenant with Abraham. There is yet a good word for Israel, and it is from the Lord, which stretcheth forth the heavens, and layeth the foundations of the earth, and formed the spirit of man within him. I appreciate the way the Lord confirms his word by reminding us of who he is. Right. This is who's talking. This is the one who promised these things concerning Israel and Jerusalem, the one that stretched forth the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth, that formed the spirit of